welcome to episode 4 of Snap on This, a whole month of this podcast that we all love. I have 2 illustrious, wonderful, amazing regular co-hosts. We'll start with Ben Roller. How was your week in Snap, and keep it snappy?
Well, my week in Snap has been pretty good. Let's see. I'm not sure if I'm going for leaderboard stuff this season. We'll see how I'm feeling. But I don't know. I kind of think I probably will. I've got decks that I like. I like a lot of decks that I like right now, actually. I've got a fun Surfer deck I've been playing. I've got the Heimdall deck from last season that's still whooping ass. I've got a very cool discard deck with hand buff elements. I call it Miscard. The current version has Fastos, a card that I am very excited to play more of, and I just wish he was, a little better. And I've been playing, especially now that it's Madam Web Week, I've been playing a very fun Kingpin deck that, it's a lot of fun. So it's been a good week in Snap.
I love to hear that. And our other co-host, Ree, how was your week?
I got Infinite, which I try to do in the first-ish week, if not day oneing it, just so I can, be done with it and have fun.
Yeah.
But I was at my board game retreat, so I was playing kind of in my downtime between board game turns. And which everyone was real excited about, but
I'm sure they love that.
Undoubtedly.
But when you're playing distractedly, which I know a lot of people do, it's like you want to play a deck you really know well and doesn't have way too many lines or something. So I played my comfy deck, Miekocalypse. That's what I took to Infinite, and I just think it's if that's the fastest way, if you're just looking to get fast, is more importantly than having the best meta deck, is just a deck super well, so your snap conditions, retreats, you can just play it, and I did play it with half my attention, and I also just wanted to talk up my deck a little bit, because I realized I've talked about it before. I've never actually given the deck. The deck is Meek, Morbius, Gambit, Moon Knight, Strong Guy, Swordmaster, Dracula, Ghost Rider, Proxima, Black Cat, MODOK, and Apocalypse. And I took this to Infinite, and we're not quite discussing it yet, but this deck got 2 buffs with the OTA. And I took it to Infinite before that, so so I'm just saying double buff on this deck. And it's kind of good against a lot of things, surprisingly, because you're playing fewer, more powerful cards. It can be reasonable against clog decks, because you're just not putting that many cards down, generally speaking. A lot of people do not respect a Dracula. A Dracula Apox. They should. They just should realize, I can't win this lane. Again, when that Dracula hits, it's going to be a 20-something, at least, or higher, depending on how many times I've done it. So, and a lot of people just aren't used to playing against Strong Guy. And
yes.
Right? So, and so you have all these advantages, and Moon Knight and Gambit are good tech when they hit, and when you got to retreat because they didn't hit, and you see that there's probably going to be a Zola on that Wong, Black Panther. So, so that's what I took. That's the deck, and it's been decent so far for me into this meta.
Nice.
You, Lauren, how was your week?
I plummeted from the 90s to 88, trying to play my own stuff and not having a lot of success. So Rhea and I were both invited to participate in Power On Gaming's Women of Power tournament. Really cool. It's a 16 women identifying competitors, single elimination tournament, at least in the early rounds. But each of us get assigned 2 female cards to play. And so I was really trying to make mine work, but one of mine is not a very good card. The other one's Nico, so lucky me, I got Nico. But the other one is Gamora, and trying really hard to find something that would make her work. Trying to bring back old like Storm, Priority, Rush decks, and it just I just don't think there's enough power in some of the cards that used to be early power stealers, like a Medusa or a Mr. Fantastic. This goes back to power creep that we've talked about recently, where like everything is strong. Like a White Widow is a 6 power swing until the lane is full, you know? So I found it really hard to have successful Storm lanes. But I'm going to keep fiddling with it. I ended up switching to like kind of a comfort deck for me, at least the past few seasons. Affliction Spectrum I find very fun, and even though the meta hasn't really we were playing a bunch of Spectrum for a while and then stopped, but the deck is still good. So playing that, I think I'm back up to like 94, 95 or something like that. Just a really slow and steady climb to infinite. I'm not worried about it. There's plenty of time left.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of months.
And Lauren,
but I would love to get to that point where it's like, now I can have fun.
It makes me sad that you're struggling with Gamora. She's got so many good variants. She's such a cool character. I feel like, but I was thinking though, when you were talking, the last time I played her in a deck, I mean, I guess there's the Guardians decks had a run for a while, but like the last time I played her in a deck because she was good was old junk, pre-Annihilus junk, when you were, debris vipering like nonsense, and then she was just
and
a
there's
good
only
finisher
room for
at the
one
end.
card
yeah
left.
They're only what lane they're playing in, and you would play her with like a 1-drop of some sort usually. Right. So it's just like bummer.
Yes, that's kind of what I was hoping for, like a Storm into something on 4 and then Gamora on 5, and then on 6 it's either Alioth or Doom, depending on how much power you need to add to the Storm lane. But
the problem is a lot of things you can do with Gamora, you can just do better with someone else. Like if you're gonna copy her, you'd rather copy a Sage. You know what I mean? If you're gonna Wong her, there's like 50 other cards you'd go
tiny.
first.
Yeah, she just
Gamora.
She doesn't have the power she used to have. Again, power creep.
Yeah, I think too much of her.
Go ahead.
Too much of her is like in the body and not enough is in the on reveal. So like there's no opportunity to like capitalize on repetition or anything like that. I don't know. And also, she's a 5 cost. So how many times are you going to spam that on reveal anyway? But like, yeah, it's bad to copy. She's sort of a guardian without a country, sort of between roles and worlds and stuff.
One thing I did try that was really cool, but too much investment, was Gamora into Grandmaster to put her behind Goose.
Ooh.
It was very easy to take that lane, but then I just didn't have enough power anywhere else, so it was overcommittal. I don't know where it's going to go, but kind of transitioning into our next topic, in Spectrum, just the last day or two, I swapped out a handful of cards for Madam Web and Shadow King. Feel like there's one more, maybe just those 2. It's a Jean Grey deck, and so Madam Web has been an absolute blast in it. It's got Cosmo in it too. So let's talk about Madam Web. Did you get her, and what do you think about her? And these are our first impressions, because it's only been a day or 2 since she's been out.
Yeah, I definitely picked up Madam Web, because I do have a certain reputation that I must maintain as a move person. And also, I'm just very excited about the card. She's very cool. I have played her in a couple of decks. There's one that I actually just built earlier today. It's a Surfer deck. It's a little bit memey. I've only played a few games, and I've gotten this combo off once. One of the things that this deck does is you play Madam Web, you play Brood on the Madam Web lane, or you play Iron Fist into Brood. There are a couple of ways to make this combo work. But the plan is to move the original Brood over to Symbiote Spider-Man, who then proliferates into broodlings that are absolutely massive. And I'm not sure it's super practical. I'd have to play some more games, but like, oh wow, when it works, it works. And you get to play Vulture, and I've even got Dagger in there, and just good surfer cards, and do surfer things, a little bit of move things. The thing is, I'm so used to playing surfer decks with move elements. This is just a very different take than I usually have on that idea. But there are so many ways to do it. I don't know if you guys heard, but I love this game and all the exciting possibilities. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's not as solved as I think many of our contemporaries believe it to be.
The meta moves so fast. I don't know how often it can even be solved. Like, exactly. It's not like I lose sleep over it, but I'm so fascinated by the concept of like things that go undiscovered.
Mm-hmm. I sort of wish they would slow down with all the balance changes, because it's just, we have no time to really dig in. But I guess they're exciting, so it's balanced. I'm having fun either way. So
I think it's funny that you bring up that brood thing, because it was something I was going to suggest with Araña. I mean, you can totally.
This is like practice for next week. I'm just like getting used to the concepts.
Araña into brood into symbiote Spider-Man is just disgusting.
Yeah, that's going to be like the very streamlined, efficient version of what I'm trying to do. But even in this sort of Rube Goldberg configuration that I'm currently playing, it doesn't seem like nothing. So that's cool. But yeah, I tried her a couple other places, but that's where I've been having the most fun with Madame Web.
I did not get her yet. I want to, but I refuse to spend keys. I need those keys. I'm going to use them next week probably. And so I'm waiting for tokens. The data mines show a Kitty Pride bundle. That should be this week, I think, in a couple days, for gold, that will have 3K tokens in it, and that will put me close, but it may still actually be a week or so I can get her. And I'm not even mad. You know why? Because it's the new card, so either it's going to be all mirrors playing her, or all counter. It's going to be, you're going to run into someone playing the same deck, or you're going to run into someone playing Kingpin, and it's just like, that is not fun for me. So I don't mind waiting a bit.
It's a really funny effect about the release schedule in this game, is that the first week that a card is there is like the worst week to be playing it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I very often just save it for later. I'm not interested in participating in the cultural moment that we're having where everybody's playing her.
Yeah, and the problem too is that also that skews the meta, because everyone just wants to check it out. So it's hard to say often like exactly how good a card is, because you're not playing it in a regular setting.
Yeah, right. Conclusions cannot responsibly be drawn.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you have like one day with the new card, and then 2 days with the hot location, and then you have weekend missions, like all these things that make it really hard to have a clean meta. But I don't know, maybe that's okay. The game's still fun, as we said.
Absolutely.
I got her. She cost me 4 keys, which suck. But fortunately, Marvel Boy and Wiccan were both 1 key cards for me, and I have also been saving for a while, because I want basically every card this season and every card symbiote season. Mm-hmm. I hope the November cards suck.
Yep, I'm right there with you.
That's why I can't spend keys on her. But I get her.
Okay, I think we've already hinted at it, but Araña next week. I had her as my number 1. I think both for fun and for just power rankings. I think if there's any card this season that's going to get nerfed, it's her. I think she seems extremely fun. How about you two?
Well, I'm pretty excited. As I've already hinted, my nerf money is on Scarlet Spider, but Araña is just a power crept card. There's no question about it. I'm very excited. I love those little 1-cost activators. They're real juicy. I think that Iron Fist could use a 3rd point of power. That's what I think. Seems fair. But I'll still keep him in the list with Araña and Ghost Spider. And she's going to be very powerful. and it's going to work in the decks that I like. So I think I'm a little bit more immediately excited to play Araña, whereas Madam Web is like a card that I just want to like think about for a while, and I will see an opportunity for her in the near future. I'm certain where like she really works, but like Araña, that's just batteries included, like right out of the box. You're playing with that. That's fun.
I am less high on her because I just prefer an on reveal. I just can do more, it's that same thing that I've been, Killmonger, all of that. I'll still give her a chance. I'll still try a few things with her, but I'm honestly getting her because it's hitting my second roll under I will open for cards weeks that I will get 2 cards, which is it's a week that I like all the variants. And I'm going to get her eventually because I want to be collection complete. And that's why I'm not opening this week for Madam Web. So I'll get her next week. And I don't mind that Miss Marvel or the Sage variants. Although I will stop if I get her with the first key.
Yeah, I love the Ms. Marvel variant, and that's one of those ones where it's like, will I keep spending if I get Araña first? I won't, even though this is my most wanted Ms. Marvel variant. But yeah, I don't play her that much anymore, so...
Yeah, speaking of, since these are the friends, right, of the Spotlight friends, Miss Marvel is a good card, but you don't see her as much because she's a card you have to, like, build around a bit. She's not a card you throw into a deck like a Jeff. So,
also, there's this clog thing going on.
Yeah.
And this is just not Miss Marvel's moment, I think. She's a great card in a vacuum, but alas, she exists within this context, and it's not her time.
Yeah, very true. Unless, so that just makes me want to be like, okay, but if I put the right destroy, okay.
Annihilus or Killmonger.
Reloads the challenge.
No, but you're right. It's silly. She's a good card, but it's not her meta moment, and she's a bit more of a build around.
Sage, on the other hand, is an amazing card. Sage, especially if you like Ravonna or Negative, but even if you don't, I think she's also good in bounce. She is
Surfer and like
powerhouse. It's ridiculous how strong she gets for a 3 cost.
Any deck where you have a Wong, like honestly, if you need another card.
Yeah. She's like the opposite of Gamora, who has too much invested in like her natural body. Like her floor is so high, but that's kind of a waste because you're paying for it. But like Sage is all on reveal.
Yep.
So more fun to duplicate, more fun to repeat.
Yeah.
Borrow, copy, etc.
Right? You can abs man a Sage. Mm-hmm. I love me some abs man.
Or Taskmaster, although that's a lot harder to do since the Taskmaster change. Still really good. That's probably more appropriate for Negative. I wanted to say in Araña, like I really don't think she has to be in a move deck, but Ben, you specifically mentioned like you'll still run Iron Fist with her. I think that combo alone is super cool. You could use Iron Fist and Araña both for the same card because she's an activate. And so you can have a card go either right left or left right, and it doesn't like you don't have to worry about the I don't know. I just think that's interesting.
That reminds me of something I wish I had mentioned earlier about Madam Web. I'm seeing a lot of people who I don't think play move very often being a little too greedy and inviting like Shang-Chi's and Shadow Kings that they did not really have to. I've been playing Shang-Chi, and if you're trying to do move things, don't go big too soon because you will get countered. So I would be careful about moving your Vulture twice, like on turn 3 with those 2 cards or something, because that's just that's an invitation, is what that is. But the thing about Araña is that you can space it out because of the flexibility that Activate offers. But yeah, I'm sorry. I meant to warn everybody during the Madam Web talk. Stop moving your cards too many times too fast. You can save it for later. I apologize for derailing.
No, it's just I'm just thinking of like new move players, like the little kittens with the like live fast, die young, like Human Torch out there. Just Like, no, buddy.
YOLO. Okay, this week we have an OTA coming, and it's already been announced ahead of time, presumably because it was leaked again. But we'll go through it and talk about our thoughts. Do you want to tackle this one?
Sure. Let's see. Our first one is I'm sorry, I've lost the show notes.
No.
Is it Sandman?
It's Sandman.
And he's going from 5/6 to 5/7. And not only that, next turn, cards cost one more instead of the one card per turn thing that he was going to do with his on reveal, or that he has been doing with his on reveal, rather. So it's like Dream Dimension or whatever. Probably goes well with Mobius. Seems like a more fair and interactive card than he was before. Like, I don't like these absolute things. Like, yeah, I don't know. I like this version better. I think it's going to be more fun to play against for me. And as a person who never played Sandman anyway, I am self-interestedly happy about this change.
He's one of my least favorite cards to play against because I play a lot of things that play multiple cards on the last turn.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, like, he'll see. We're all seeing this from the side of, like, it's not fun to play against it. It's like a retreat, right? A lot of times. And I know because I was playing some stupid late night auto deck. It's Sandman in it. So many bounce retreats. Delicious. Like, that's what it costs you to make me wait on my turns. Against Sandman. Here's some salt.
Saves you a whole turn of roping.
Salt with that sand. All right. But like on the like, are people 5 costs? I mean, we just talked about Gamora and stuff, and now there's things like Gilgamesh. There's like some big 5 drops out here. Does this kill the card? Honestly, I wonder for people that want to play it.
It's so much worse. Although it is interesting now that, like Ben said, if you have Mobius up, it's one-sided, so I could see it still being played that way.
It's true.
And maximum 6. You can't walk people out of their 6-cost cards.
Now it's more, maybe slightly more of a Spectrum card than it's been before. You didn't see a lot of Sandman in Spectrum. Maybe it'll...
That's not ongoing.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be.
Oh my gosh, I am thinking, wait, oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry, it's been a long week for me.
Old identity. Yeah, I think it really hurts the card, but also I think that's the kind of thing they like to do. They like meta churn. They like taking a card and dramatically changing its play rate. If he's hurt too bad, they'll bring him back at some point.
Yeah, I don't think they want him to not be a factor. Like, he does have a job to do, and I guess it is important for people who want to counter people like me who like to play multiple cards. Yeah.
Okay.
There should be something for them, I suppose.
Counter, though. How much you see in Leech anymore?
Still sometimes.
Really? Oh, when I do, I laugh. I'm like, haha, I didn't have any 6 costs in my hand, fool. I like to play 5 and tiny cards. Anyway, yeah. We'll see. I like it because you're right. I don't want it to be an instant retreat for people.
Yeah, I'm just like, anything that would make this card weaker is going to go over well with this kid.
Mockingbird, though, is our next card, and it is just going down to a 6/9 from a 6/10, which she needed. Wow. I think everyone agreed she needed a nerf.
Yeah,
easily one of the best cards in the game.
I was advising someone I know about resource allocation, and Mockingbird is just one of the least skippable cards around. That's what I think.
Is a good time to mention that 6/10 to 6/9 is a nerf, even though she's no longer a Shang target.
I found the rationale here very interesting. They explained that no card has ever gotten like better by getting out of Shang-Chi range.
Yeah, they know it statistically, but also it's just that 1 point of power is there every single game.
Yeah.
Whereas the Shang-Chi ability is only relevant when your opponent has Shang-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
Shang-Chi. Yeah. Okay.
That 10th point of power is always worth it.
And it's one where she could easily drop it and she'll still be played just as much. Except for Scar Synergy. Sorry.
You're fine. Speaking of the 1 extra point of power, Aero and Black Cat both going from 9 power to 10 power. More stuff for Scar. More Shang targets, I guess, but the 1 extra power is worth it.
I was curious about this. Tell me, Lauren, what you think. How big of a stat stick does Aero get before you play her just for the stats?
See, I've been wondering about this myself. I've been thinking about the obvious comparison for me. The way I'm looking at it is Cannonball. And is Aero's ability 2 points of power worse than Cannonball's? And I think definitely, yeah.
You're right. Cannonball is way better than Aero.
Yeah.
But like,
I kind of think, I don't know. I think maybe Aero's ability just isn't quite good enough. I don't know, like, if she really works as a 5 cost, and I don't think that giving her this extra power is going to make her the choice, you know? Like, I think I would rather play Cannonball or something else.
I think you hit it, though, because this is where I'm at. Like, right, Gilgamesh is a 5 cost. You know what I mean? Like, these are the contenders now for this energy slot. Maybe her... Think about this. What if Aero only cost like 3 or something, and she can fit into your little Kingpin deck and stuff? Like,
I mean, I was only going to ask for 4, but yeah, 3.
I wanted her to be Surfer. For me,
everything should be a 3/5 in my opinion. That's not strictly true, but like, when Beast went to 3/5, I didn't shed any tears. I was like, oh, that's an exciting card now.
You do love me some Surfer. I think that's it, though. I think she's got to go 4. I'm sorry, you're saying, Lauren?
Aero's just, ever since she got her ability change, she hasn't really been played a lot. I think slightly underrated, but still just like, there's so many better 5 costs you can play, and it's hard to make her ability matter a lot. I don't know. I honestly, the one time I hit top 1000 rank, it was with new Aero, and it was pulling things off of the Storm Lane. That was fun.
Yeah. If you could pair her with more cards, you know, in that end, she'd be so much more playable. Like, okay.
Or bring back old Aero. I think old Aero would work.
I think this stat change is not what she needs. And that's about all I have to say about it.
Hey, it's a step in the right direction.
In my Discord was arguing that. They are like, she could have her old ability back now because, like, nowadays more people are filling their boards, you know? Nowadays, like, her old ability wouldn't be as powerful as back then.
Yeah, it's a different environment for sure.
Yeah, the game's so different now.
And then, okay, okay, sorry.
Go ahead. It looks like you're excited about Black Cat.
Yeah, this is one of the Miekocalypse buffs. Like I said, it was already a good deck for me. I'm happy for this. It was okay. I did like the laughing in Conquest. They're like, I have a Shang-Chi. What are you going to shang my Dracula? What are you going to shang my Black Cat? Like, that was very fun for me, and that goes away. But you know, what are you going to do? So.
Now she's just a decoy.
Yeah, I'm sort of rooting for Black Cat. I don't think this is going to make me play her. This is a little bit of a tangent, but I used to play this miniatures game, Hero Clicks, and the Black Cat Hero Clicks figure was absolutely busted. If I still remember how many points she cost. The experienced Black Cat, that was the good one, had the Spider-Man team ability, could mimic other team abilities, very handy. 32 points. She had probability control, giving you sweet rerolls on things. Just a busted figure, and I'm glad she's not busted in Marvel Snap, but I do wish she was a little more in that direction, just a little better.
I'm retconning your memories to include you whispering, like, gotta run, hun, every time you play your hero. You don't even know that's her voice line, do you? Because you don't play her. Disgusting.
I do know it's her voice line because she exists in the game. Things get generated. Other people play her sometimes.
I actually play her in one version of my Gwenpool Mysterio deck where you're just trying to dump your hand because she's another way to shrink your hand and make sure Gwen is hitting Mysterio.
Yeah, that reminds me, I meant to mention this earlier. The reason that discard deck with the hand buff elements I mentioned during my weekend snap, the reason I call that miscard is with a Y because Mysterio's in there. You know he is. Yep. Getting buffed with America, getting buffed with Gwenpool. He's just, he's a cool card.
You gotta send me this
Such
hand
a
buff
cool
deck.
card.
Like every time.
Actually, I think last week I published a deck on the Twitter to promote the pod, and I think my miscard deck will be the deck that I share on Twitter this week. If you wanna know what goofiness I've been cooking.
But also Lauren, because she's talked about this hand buff deck, because she knows and it's like now Black Cat's.
Yeah, it's got Makari.
Like,
I know you would like it.
I had thought about it, and I was going to ask you for it, but then I just took the cards and then built my own, like as we do. But now it's like I want to play yours because it's fun too. When you force yourself to play other people's deck, it gives you new ideas you didn't have before, obviously.
Yeah, totally. It's good for iteration, inspiration.
But also I wanted to since Ben is dissing on Black Cat is to discard what Vulture is to move. So I understand why you don't appreciate her, but like she's probably just as she's probably just as good as one of your move cards that I never play.
That is a bold claim, Ree. Wow.
I don't follow.
I can't refute it because I just don't think there's a way to reason with.
What I mean by that, sorry, I thought it was. I forget that my brain works in different ways. Is that like she's good in very specific decks, like Vulture is. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can't.
I don't think Black Cat is like bad. I just don't think she has a lot of different applications, and I see her used for the one job, and she's okay at it.
And what do you do with Vulture besides move him?
Yeah, but he's like really good at that job.
I think we're just gonna stay in our discard move sides of this debate. To be fair, though, I do fear with my Mika. One thing I fear is a move deck that hits all its stuff, because that can actually outpower Drax sometimes. So, fair enough.
Okay, next on the OTA. Do you have it in front of you, not Ben?
Oh yeah, absolutely. After Aero and Black Cat, we've got Ghost Rider with, in my opinion, the least interesting point of power of any of these things that just gained a point of power. Ghost Rider is a 4/4 now, up from 4/3.
Percentage-wise, that's a bigger gain.
Yeah, that's a huge percentage if you look at his natural personal body. But considering that the whole point is to bring back some huge thing, this is like a very tiny drop in the bucket, because like his whole job is to like grab a 20 power Infinite and join the lane.
A lot of times you'll play him on a dust domain or something, where you're losing him.
That's true.
So it
for a little bit of reach
there too.
Black Cat and Ghost Rider combo is now 2 more power.
I suppose so. I guess in combination.
And I do that a lot, so I'll take it.
I mean, it never hurts. As we've established, 1 point of power is always a good thing to have. I mean, he's fine. I don't know.
We already talked about it. It's the same thing as Black Cat. He's great, in specific
He's
decks.
he's so weirdly overshadowed by Hela. And I think the point of Ghost Rider is to have a little discard package inside of another deck, I think. Reed likes it in, I guess, a dedicated discard thing.
But like I said, you forget the versatility. It's like, unless you're like someone, these are the players who are like just destroy players, or the players who played a lot of discard, and you learn all the little utility tricks of all the little cards. Like I said, the way Ghost Rider a lot can get you into Dust Domain or, those other things. So
Luke's Bar.
And yes, exactly. And Luke's Bar. And once again, because it is a lesser played card, your opponents don't know all those little tricks you do. So they're not banking on it if you're saving it as a surprise. You know what I mean? They're not thinking about it.
They probably don't even know you have Ghost Rider.
So,
Yeah.
Ghost Rider Black Cat is amazing.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, this point of power seems even less consequential than the other 1 point of power that the other cards have gained. At least that's how it feels to me.
But as Lauren said, as a package deal, because, they are played together a lot, that is 2 more points of power in the combo.
Yeah, a 14-point lane is better than a 12-point lane. It's true.
Woo!
Okay.
A 414 is not bad.
It's all right. I don't think that usually wins, but, it's a start.
For 4 energy.
But once again, it's the synergy. In my deck, it goes
4
where
energy plus some...
I'm trying to proc a strong guy, so I want cards to drop out of my... You know what I mean? And
no, for sure.
Like, it's... so it's the same argument, like I said.
I just mean that, like, the decks that weren't going to play 4-3 Ghost Rider aren't going to play 4-4 Ghost Rider.
Yeah. I agree. The same way.
But the decks that are going to win slightly more often.
Yes, they are going to be grateful for the extra point. It's true.
Okay.
I think the more consequential point of power on a 4 cost is for Moon Girl. Because that is, like, that's a straight up 25% increase in the beef. And that's where she's going. I don't know if I'd established that. She used to be a 4-4 that on reveal duplicates your hand. She's now a 4-5 on reveal that duplicates your hand. So she feels a little bit less like a detour in terms of, like, taking time off on putting power down. I think this is a good change and makes me a little bit more excited to play the card.
It's a card I want to love so much more. I think it's really interesting that didn't they in the dev notes mention 3-cost Moon Girl, and it was just way too good?
Yeah, of course it would be. I mean, like, 3/5 Loki that drew a card is nuts, and copying your hand is drawing cards.
Right. So playing her earlier lets you duplicate more cards and also gives you more time to do something with them.
Mm-hmm.
Moon Girl?
Yeah, I think I'm not surprised that 3-cost Moon Girl proved to be problematic. That seems like maybe... I'm not even sure I would have tested that, but I'm glad they did and made the right choice.
Okay, I think Moon Girl, like, I was thinking what made her weak, because I used to love Moon Girl, right? And she just kind of slowly fell out. And it's like, well, I think it's just the fact that we got more cards in the game, right? Like, you used to be like, oh, I could duplicate Titania, right? Is what I was doing with her. But now you have Martyr, you have Hydra Bot. You don't need to, like, you would just play like you're playing a zoo deck in a different way. You've also got more cards that give you more cards if you're trying to fill your hand for some reason, than we used to have. And all of that has just made her less necessary, right? So maybe the power will help. What I want to do with her right now is make 2 Shadow Kings. Ruin all these move players' days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
2 Shadow Kings and a Grandmaster.
Yeah, that could be cruel.
Because think about it, you've already lost Prio if you're saving. Okay, and part of this, I won't lie, is I was thinking about the Power On tournament that were part of my 2 cards, were Sarah and Dazzler. And I was, when I saw the Moon Girl change, I was like, I think this is it. I think I'm going to go back to, like, doubling up Tiny Cat, because you're like gonna lose Prio if you're holding back to drop a bunch of stuff on turn 6. Sandman just got wrecked, so you don't gotta worry about that anymore, right? So what if I just Sarah and I just drop on the last turn, I just drop like 2 Shadow Kings,
6 2 costs,
2, I don't know, maybe some Martyr for fun, whatever else I got. Well, not Martyr, we'd probably go with 2 drops, like some Silks, right? Double Silk, and if you're trying to fill the board, it doesn't matter if she's moving, because you're dazzling and you're filling stuff. So I got to work on it. I got to turn this insane, but like that's what I want to do. Particularly Shadow King, to be honest.
The thing about Silk and her movement stuff it can actually make it harder to fill the board sometimes. Because
As a
like
T6
she'll
drop,
settle
though.
somewhere and then I'm sorry, what was that?
As a T6 drop, though. If you're doubling her up with Moon Girl, you have two of them, and you're...
If they have priority, she can very safely be stuck somewhere on turn 6 and everything. But like if she came down earlier, or if you don't have priority...
But I've got Dazzler in the deck. My goal is T6, I'm filling the board. So like she's probably not even moving. I just want her stats. You know? She's just not a lizard. So
Ooh, include a
That's
Mysterio. Take up 3 spots on the board for 1 energy.
See? That's what I'm saying. That's like the old Sarah 6-drops. Like Sandman.
Yeah,
when
like
Sandman's
I see
gone,
like she won't have like opportunities to move if you're popping down Mysterio and doing the Sarah board
dump
vomit
at
thing,
the end.
you know.
Yeah, at the end. I never like did that back in the day, I feel like. So now I'll have fun. Right? It's just so set
that's
up.
gonna be
Losing
good.
Cryo, Shadow Kinging them, you'll kill so many hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
I hope so. I want you both to win. I don't know.
It's more for fun,
better
right?
both make
Everyone's
it to
stuck
the
making
finals.
decks. We'll see.
I thought it was for fun until I heard there was a prize pool.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Up next, what I think is probably the biggest and most interesting buff in this set.
Oh yeah.
War Machine going from unrevealed to ongoing. I mean, the text has changed, but it means the same thing. Nothing can stop you from playing cards anywhere. It's an extremely cool card. Being able to play him on 4 makes a huge difference.
So
Yeah.
I can't. I swear I will get through a podcast sometime without mentioning Wombat Combat. But he is worried, and
Don't worry about it. We love Wombat Combat.
This is your Wombat Combat moment. He's worried that Storm Legion with War Machine will now like take over,
Be a thing, yeah.
and like ruin the meta because every other game. I mean, they'd have to hit it, but it's like it's not fun when you see it hit like occasionally. He's still a 4 though, right? So it's like you're gonna have to get him out early with the Zabu or something if you're gonna do the whole Storm
2 turns
Legion.
of War Machine is a huge difference.
Yeah,
versus
that
1
is a
turn
huge
of War
difference.
Machine.
And you don't
Oh,
have
wait,
to
you're
squeeze him
saying-
in on 5 if you want to do Infinite stuff. Like, you can play him on curve and then do Infinite stuff. I'm just not excited about this change, personally.
But you meant for the Storm thing specifically?
If you're Storm Legioning, War Machine has to come out first, obviously.
No.
Can't you do Storm, War Machine,
Storm, War
Legion?
Machine... I see what you're saying. You need to play Legion after
You have to
Storm.
play Legion. Do you guys have not Storm Legioned enough?
Yeah,
Is
no, I see what
I'm
you're saying.
hearing.
You do have to play War Machine on 3 so that you can play Storm on 4 so that you can play Legion on 5 while you can still play on the flooding location.
But
Correct.
if you have War Machine up, you can play on the flooded location.
Oh,
True. Oh my gosh, Lauren.
Oh, you just
are...
outsmarted
Yep.
us.
Yep.
Lauren!
So you can do Storm, War Machine, Legion. That's nasty. And then
Oh my
still
gosh,
play on
yeah.
turn 6.
Oh, you made it even better.
Well,
Ugh.
that's my deck for the
I'm not
Women
looking
of Power
forward to this
tournament.
at all.
I play Storm Lee. I've been having fun. I call it Song of Storms after Zelda. But I have a Storm because with Gwenpool and Marvel Boy, it's so fun because you get your 1-drops out, right? And you get Marvel Boy with like Nebula and Sunspot. Because the problem with Storm Legion is you have to get enough power out early or they can still just out, you know what I mean? And that definitely happens. So you have to have all these little scalers out that are cheap before you Storm Legion. And like War Machine negates the need for that, which means more people will do it. And it ruins the other person's day and fun, which means everyone will do it. So like,
Right.
we shall see.
Yeah, I think this is going to need to get changed fast. Shoot. Oh.
But right, would they not have tested this? But the problem is they may have been
wonder
like,
sometimes.
hey, it only hits so much of the time. But they don't realize that if players find it fun and it hits enough of the time, then people will just play it anyway, regardless of the win rate. And that will wreck the meta, you know? Look at Arshem and stuff. And Loki was like, the win rates aren't that good. And it's like, yeah, but it's not fun when 80% of the people are playing it anyway, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Like, in much the same way that I'm excited to see Sandman get a little worse or a little less, harsh. I am not excited to see War Machine become more flexible because I just don't want to deal with it personally. I don't know. I'm not rooting for this change. I am concerned.
Yeah, I'm growing in my concern. I thought he seemed so fun to cook with, but yeah, the things you can do with him are very unfun.
They bring back Lockdown, which they got rid of for a reason.
Yep.
I want Lockdown to be back, so I would be okay with that personally.
Well, I mean, Lockdown is good. I do agree that Lockdown could use a little help. I don't know what that looks like. Maybe that looks like a better Professor X or something, maybe a better Storm, but I don't think that letting War Machine do all these hijinks is the answer.
Right, but one of the number one things is players they just got rid of Sandman because players want to play their cards, you know what I mean? Like, they'll lose, but they want to be able to play their cards. And when lockdown means you can't play your cards. So, yeah.
I mean, the triple flooded thing, people retreat. Like, it's not fun, but people retreat. So it's not the same cube rate as doing other things.
You could also retreat to Galactus. Remember that?
Yeah, and when it's out of control, it's not fun. Right. So it's like, is that going to be the version of War Machine that takes off? Or is it going to be, hey, look, I can dump Ebony Maw and Infinite on turn 6 because of hope or something.
Right. Oh, the fun.
And they get to make an efficient turn 5 play first. And that's like the thing that they couldn't do before. They had to slow down to play War Machine into 1 cost or whatever. And now they don't have to.
4/7 on turn 4 is so much better than a 4/7
That's so
on turn
interesting.
5.
Absolutely.
This gives you a way to play Ebony Maw aside of Sauron. I didn't think about that, though.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Well, now you can play Ebony Maw with Madam Web if you want.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. One more weird one.
Agatha, am I reading it? Is so she's staying as a 6/14, but instead of her old text, which is Agatha starts in your hand and plays your cards for you, it will now be Agatha starts in your hand. She plays your cards for you on even turns. So you get to play half the time.
But the half the time that you get to play is not turn 6. So I think that's she's still not a serious. I don't know. I'm still not too scared of Agatha Harkness because making decisions on turn 6 is one of the most important things you get to do.
Well, I think most serious Agatha decks, are trying to dump Agatha.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm saying like this is not a card that you want to have, and like you're not gonna ride it out with Agatha in this situation or anything. This doesn't free you.
You still want Lady Sif or Wave on 3, so you can get rid of Agatha.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that sense, I don't know how much of a difference it makes. You get turn 1 and 3 to control your hand.
Which makes it, I feel like this makes her a way better meta card, right? Because now you used to have to deck build with the absolute assumption you did not get to play 1, 2, and then your 3 had to be something that would get rid of her, right? You had to, now you could put other 3 cards because you will have an option of what you get to play. So I think this makes her way better for the meta. Like I said, it'll still be a very specific type of deck where you're probably looking to discard her or otherwise mitigate, like maybe you force her to play in a certain spot because you're filling the board. But it opens those options simply because you can play more cards and now put more cards earlier on into your deck. However, I do think this kind of ruins the card because here's the last time I played Agatha, which is just a couple days ago. It was really late at night and I was like, I hate missing my missions. I hate missing out on the credits, but I was sober and like, I don't even want to play Snap. Like I just don't. And I play a lot of late night Snap. This is how exhausted I was. I just don't want to do it. So I just grabbed an Agatha deck. Just was like, until the missions are done. Thanks, Agatha. And it's like, I think that's the joy for a lot of people of Agatha, you know?
I guess.
So this kills botting with Agatha, which is good. But I agree with you that a lot of people love Agatha in her current state. And well, I don't know if it's a lot, but
Well,
there's
yeah.
a small portion that really likes Agatha, and
they're out there.
I think this ruins her for them.
Yeah, they do matter, and I hope this hasn't. Yeah, I hope they find something to like about this version of her, because it's not what she was before.
I think it opens up so many deck building options with her. But will people be interested in exploring those? I don't know. For me, I don't know if I will be as much, you know? Like,
I don't think this pushes her over the edge into a widely good card that you would... I mean, like, she's inviting you to play an interesting game. I'm just going to decline the invitation and do other good things.
I think she's viable, though, and it's worth noting that she starts in your hand. Right? That's the edge she has on, like, Infinite, if you're going to do a Lady Sif Ghost Rider thing.
Yeah.
She thins your deck by 1 card. And that has some benefit to it. Is it the 6 power that Infinite could give you instead?
Wait,
that's what I'm saying. She's an interesting challenge that you can tackle now, because you know you will get to play cards in certain turns, you know?
I have a question. I do not play a ton of Agatha, as you may have guessed. When it says that she starts in your hand, does she start in your hand like Quicksilver starts in your hand?
She's an extra
she's
card.
An extra card in
you
your
can
hand.
check if someone's playing Agatha by seeing if they start with 4 cards in their hand.
Oh, well, I learned something new today.
Holy crap, you did not know that?
No,
Whenever
I
someone
had
has
not
the title
to learn the
playing
intricacies
Agatha,
of Agatha Harkness. No,
you know,
I
some
had
people
not.
run around with an Agatha avatar and sing playing Agatha. I always check. I'm like, are you though?
That's it. They love Agatha. Okay. So that's the end of the OTA. It should be out by the time you're listening to this. And we're going to move on to something sort of teased or challenged in last week's episode. We started talking about Mantis, and Ben decided we should all prepare our own Mantis rework ideas, our own pitches. So we're going on to that. Who's really excited about their Mantis?
Ben has to go first because he assigned the homework.
Fair enough.
He threw the gauntlet.
Fair enough. That's what I get. All right. So I thought about Mantis. I thought about the versions of Mantis we've had in the past. I think they've all kind of stunk. I think that I don't think anybody would really argue with me about that. I'm like, maybe we don't need another small Guardian, because I'm looking at the whole crew, specifically the crew from the movies, because I'm not versed in the comic book lore, and I'm looking for holes in the lineup, right? And we've got a couple good 3s. Well, not good 3s. We have 1 good 3 and 1 bad 3. A lot of these things, there's a stinker in one of the cost slots, but the only one at 4 is Drax. And even though we all know that Drax has that edge that Drax has, I thought maybe we could add a little more power to that spot on the curve for the old GOTG. And I took Mantis all the way up to 4 cost. My first thought was 3/5, because I just want all kinds of cards to be 3/5. That's just, I think that's a very good stat line, but it just seemed too good. And they're already Cosmo and Groot at that point. So 4/6 is what I decided on. And for that very fair stat line, I decided maybe we want sort of a flashy ability. I decided to keep it in the basic Guardians thing. I mean, like, I know that there are exceptions to the rule, like Cosmo doesn't have the on reveal if your opponent played a card here thing, and nor does Yondu, nor does Adam Warlock if you count Adam Warlock. But I thought I would keep to the theme that Mantis already had. So what I did was 4/6 on reveal. If your opponent played a card here this turn, discard the card that costs most from their hand. So it's just like a Sif on them. A Sif on both their houses or whatever. I don't know. I thought about just wiping the text, like Leech style, but that's just Leech. Like, Leech already hits a high cost thing and wipes it. So I thought, how do we nullify a big thing? Because the text to which I referred was not any comic book. I rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy 2, And Mantis uses her powers to, pacify ego. And I thought this would fit with that thematically. Also, I thought it would be nice if there were cards that she actually wanted to get along with, like she could enable stature here, or she could, looking down the road a bit, she could set up Fenris Wolf activation. And I don't know. I just think it's a nice, tidy little design. I think it's not too powerful because you do have to line up the Guardians thing, guess correctly and all that. Although by turn 4, it's not so hard. Not as hard as it would be on turn 1 or 2, like it has been for her in the past. And yeah, 4/6 on reveal. If your opponent played a card here this turn, discard the card that costs most from their hand. That's what I got.
Yeah, I like the Guardian line up at the same lane ability. I like that like to compare her with Black Bolt, right? Like that she's that much harder to hit, but you get a better
effect.
Discard. Yeah.
High risk, high reward.
Yeah, and I love referencing her ability to take down something as powerful as ego.
Who's next?
Okay. Sorry, are you going, Lauren?
I was going to volunteer because mine is actually quite similar.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I also went with Mantis's ability to kind of soothe or put to sleep even beings that are quite powerful. And I looked for a hole in the lineup. I filled a six cost Guardian because we don't have a 6-cost Guardian. And obviously that should be Mantis of all the Guardians. I've made her probably a card I would hate. She's she's a 6-cost, so yeah, a card I would hate. She's kind of an Goliath. 6/3 on reveal. Set all enemy cards played here this turn to 0 power, including unrevealed cards.
Wow.
So, doesn't stop ongoing, and something like a Doom or a Magneto can still have its effect, but loses all that power.
But it does shut the door.
Yeah, and I was like, that sounds ridiculous, but also Shang is a 4/3 that can take out 12 power.
Wait, so it's 6/3 set all cards in that lane to power 0?
Enemy cards played here, so it still has the Guardians of the Galaxy
Got it.
effect.
Okay, so only on that turn, the turn that they're played. Okay.
Yep.
So it's like a little mini on reveal Valk.
Yeah. Yeah, that is one thing that I appreciated about it. Is like it's Valk and Goliath, and I don't know how I somehow combined those two. I wouldn't. think it's possible.
I know you would look at a card and be like, "How could we make this more Valkyrie?" Definitely.
I almost made her a 6/4 and set herself to 0 because then she has the -4 to like mirror the Guardians +4. But I was like, I don't know if that card's good, and also. That text is even more complicated, and she's Series 1, so I tried to keep it at least somewhat approachable.
Okay. I went a whole different route. I won't lie, I hate that part of the Guardians, the force them into a lane or guess it. Yeah, which is why the one I've played most of them is Gamora, because that's where you're most, that's where you're most likely to guarantee a hit, and until, as we discussed, she's not so great anymore. But so I got rid of it because I don't like it. But it was interesting. I thought it was interesting too that you approached from a stat line first. I definitely went with the ability first, and I was thinking I wanted to keep it like the Mantis's ability in mind. So I would propose that her text change to recruit a random card with cost 3 or less from your opponent's lane to your side.
Such good disruption.
So, right, but limited. I didn't want it to be like, I wanted to differentiate it from Baron Zemo, right, who pulls just the lowest cost, or Red Guardian, who targets the lowest power. And I wanted it to be, I didn't want it to be like any card, like a solo, like recruit a random card, because it's like, I wanted to be able to steal like an Iron Man or something, like too swingy. Right. So I thought 3 or less, and if they have a whole lane, then you're maybe you get a squirrel or something if they're a zoo, but like maybe still a Marvel boy,
Yeah.
So that was the ability I came up with, and I was thinking, when I was thinking about stat line, I almost first thought 4, but I was thinking Baron Zemo was what I thought might be closest, right? And Baron Zemo is weaker, though, than this ability, because you're also stealing energy from the opponent that they've played to the board. So it's like, well, she needs a lower stat line than him, but I thought 3 might be good. So I thought a 3-2 is where I would start her at.
I like the mirror of she can pull a 3 or lower and she's a 3 cost. I think that is like a good mnemonic.
And then she'd go and surf.
And sometimes she'll miss. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
right?
you did the best job of like echoing back to her original Snap ability.
I'll take it. I love Mantis.
Recognize the lineage, you know.
It's so much more playable. I feel like there is a version of Mantis's current ability that might be playable because, well, I don't know what it would be, because I was going to say Mirage is in the game and she's pretty good, but like people don't play Mirage, so.
And I mean,
and Mirage is way better.
She's Cable. Maybe Cable is a better comparison.
I don't think she's Cable. Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, is there a version of her? I don't know what it looks like, but is there a version of her that's good where you can steal your opponent's card?
Oh, like, that they played? I mean,
when they buffed her most recently, they referred to stealing a Venom, but like that's such a hard read to get.
Well, I mean, so even when it's telegraphed.
Yeah, to get you played on turn 3 and they played Venom on turn 4, like.
And that's like one good thing in one matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a really weird thing to refer to.
How often is their card?
Now she's cool.
Gonna be good. Yeah. No, I agree. Poor Mantis. I want to play her so bad. Fix her. Fix her second dinner.
She's got such good variants.
As
mentioned in the last.
We all love that roller skate one.
Mm-hmm.
But I have tried. She's always the first cut, and it's not successful to me if I want to cut her. So.
Yeah, I'm like, even if you put her in optimal settings, like a Jean Grey or a Daredevil, it's just like, how do you play her right? Like, anyway, if you have a Quinjet, like, it's still not worth it. Okay,
not over Nico. We can literally anything.
No, not at all.
Okay, well, I'm gonna throw down a new challenge. Not just a new card to design, but spoilers for the end of the episode. I want all 3 of us to come up with a sign-off for the show.
Oh, wow.
On the spot?
Much higher stakes.
No. For next
episode. This is homework for next week.
This is my gauntlet throwing moment.
All right.
It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be the one that we end up going with, but
I think it has to be great. That's what I think.
Okay. I feel like Ben will already win this.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I predict that all 3 of us will come up with something so dope that we're forced to adopt all of them, at least alternating or maybe every time.
Some kind of chimera.
I already proposed my end to the show, which is just Lauren or the plushie of second dinner going like, that's all, folks. And then we do the like, target billow out.
Yeah, I think that's great. This is I guess I should grab it now that you've mentioned it. Just real quick.
I'll come up with a serious idea, hopefully.
Because of audio listeners, but I got Fudd the podcast bud, but he's always cut off. He's cropped off the edges, but he hangs out on my printer behind me. That's it. If you want to see him, listen to the YouTube. Watch the YouTube.
Watch the Spotify and listen to the YouTube. That's our sign off.
See? And it's very specific to Marvel Snap. I think Ben's already won this challenge because, dear listener, if you don't know, he wrote our music and it's very good.
It's all right.
Okay. If you want to follow us or like, subscribe, write reviews, whatever, just look at the show notes or the video description. They're in there, our Twitter handles and all of that good stuff. We are proud members of the Snap Judgments Network, where you can listen to all the great shows, such as our grandparent podcast, Snap Judgments, featuring Pulse Glazer and Roy and guests, all kinds of great guests. Honestly, I think of all of the I think they have the broadest, they've had the most variety of guests, and certainly the highest profile ones when you combine it. The combination of high profile and variety, I think they are the winning podcast in that category.
Oh, yeah.
New episodes every Saturday.
Also, speaking of Snap Judgments, shout out to everybody competing in the Snap Judgments League Season 4, I want to say. I don't know. Don't forget to play your matches. This is your
Season
reminder.
4.
Don't make your opponents wait around for you. Don't jerk them around. Be a good sport.
That's right. Maybe I'll be back for Season 5. I've taken a couple seasons off. But I do like matching with some random person from the community and getting to chat for a little bit. That's
it's
fun.
Great fun.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
To sign up this season, but honestly, I'm glad I need I'm doing too much stuff right now. I can't do more stuff.
Yeah. See, I had just started a new job and I think I needed some transition time. All right. Well, it's time to crush this outro.
That's all we ever do.
Oh, shit. I thought we already ended. I thought we were just talking now.
We need some kind of stinger. Snap on this.
You've been snapped upon.
When I do it, it's like a little penguin or alien going snap, 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 snap. You know? What were those?
I don't know, but I would like to.
I don't know about snapping penguins and aliens.
Okay, I don't know. I've watched a lot of cartoons.
That's character.
Okay, but we're done now, right? Now.
Yeah.
Now we've stopped.
Bonus.
That's exactly what Lauren would say if she was going to keep this in at the end.
Well, there has to be some banter over the music. It's too powerful if the music stands
alone. It's banter time. It's not like a fish. Okay. All right. Well, I assume we already are.
We can swear now. For those of you who are watching, you know we cut to a second day, and you know what? That's great. We're wearing beautiful second outfits.
Yeah.
That's a secret for the video listeners only.
I almost wore the same outfit to be hiding. I'm like, but no, they'll wear different outfits. Just look like.
Oh, I thought about it too. I was like, do we want to create the illusion?
Can you imagine if all three of us did that without collaboration?
What if we tried to gaslight just to see if anyone would notice?